New at 11, controversy over proposed new cell phone towers in Montgomery County neighborhoods. It's all to bring new 5G service to the area, and tonight Annalisa Gale is getting both sides at the only public hearing scheduled before next month's vote.
They are dangerous for many reasons, and they could decrease our property values by up to 20%.
Close to 4 dozen people testified in front of the Montgomery County Council for and against a zoning amendment that could allow for mini cell towers in certain residential areas.
The reality is that small cell is an enabler for 5G, which is going to be a huge leap forward for broadband in the United States.
Among the supporters present at the council meeting were companies like T-Mobile.
The mere fact that 70-some percent, 74% of calls to 911 come from a mobile device, and oftentimes from a car, and it's critically important that those 911 calls get through.
Protesters say one of their biggest concerns about the mini cell towers is their health. They are calling for the council to reject the amendment.
There are numerous published scientific reports that show harmful effects at levels far below FCC limits.
A final decision is expected in October.
7's on your side in health matters, and mini cell phone towers starting to creep into our neighborhoods, but some are asking tonight if they're a health threat. 7 on your side, I-Team investigator Scott Taylor breaking down who's on which side of this issue.
Have you noticed these small cell phone towers on street poles in your neighborhood? More could be popping up across Maryland as supporters believe the mini towers will streamline 5G wireless across the state. Opponents of these towers tell the I-Team lawmakers are not taking a close enough look at the potential health risk.
There are absolutely no long-term safety studies that have been done at all that prove any of this 4G, 5G technology is safe for long-term exposure.
Earlier this year, Maryland Senator Thomas Middleton introduced a small cell phone tower bill very similar to the one that was defeated in California last year after AARP, the Sierra Club, and the International Association of Firefighters opposed it. The I-Team did some digging. In the past, Senator Middleton accepted campaign donations from Verizon Good Government Club, Comcast, and eBay. The senator emailed. He met with wireless companies and the Maryland Municipal League, and nobody mentioned health concerns. The senator's bill wants to preempt local zoning ordinances and cap tower rental spaces charged by cities to wireless companies. CTIA, which represents the wireless industry, says it supports 2 Maryland bills it claims will revolutionize consumers' wireless experience, and that the FCC and the FDA say there is no known health risk. The Ramazzini Institute in Italy just released a study it says shows lab animals exposed to environmental levels of cell tower radiation can develop cancer. The Institute's study used exposures below the FCC limits, and its results mimic a $25 million study of much higher levels of cell phone radio frequency radiation from the U.S. National Toxicology Program.
We have had in the past a lot of wrong attitude, ignoring or discarding or discrediting good results. It is no more the time to do that.
The FDA says it has yet to review the Institute's study, but believes the current safety limits for cell phones are acceptable for protecting the public health. After the I-Team talked to Senator Middleton, the Maryland senator sat down with local groups to talk about possible health concerns dealing with mini towers just like that one. Then his office told us the senator pulled the bill off the table and is reworking it. Scott Taylor, ABC 7 News.
Probably the most important thing I did, I was involved as a young scientist in the committee that actually reviewed the data and recommended that there be no smoking on airplanes. You may be shocked to hear that it was even a question for science at the time, but it was. And when I look at what we know now about mobile phone radiation, I see some very interesting similarities.
A growing number of prominent doctors and scientists are raising warning flags over radiation this morning, and your kids could be facing a greater risk of exposure.
I think the most important study is a study by the National Toxicology Program in a classic large carcinogenicity test, one of the largest ever performed, and for that matter, one of the most expensive, they found increased risk of the tumors which we believe radiofrequency radiation is causing in man. Particular tumors called schwannomas. In the rats, they were in the heart. In humans, they're often in the nerve, the ear nerve, the vestibular nerve.
Cell phone providers say they follow all safety guidelines put into place by the FCC. The current FCC safety standard was developed nearly 20 years ago.
The manufacturers actually tell people in the instruction manual, which I never read, not to put the cell phone against your ear.
It does say exactly that. There's the BlackBerry, for example, warns to keep your phone at least 0.98 inches away from the body when transmitting. With an iPhone, for example, it's 5/8 of an inch.
At this point, the evidence has become sufficiently strong that cell phone radiation is a human carcinogen.
A major development from California's Department of Public Health. High use of cell phones may be linked to certain types of cancer and other health effects, including brain cancer and tumors, lower sperm counts, headaches, and effects on learning, memory, hearing, behavior, and sleep.
If it was a real problem, I would know. If it was a real problem, the government would protect us. How come I'm not hearing about this? They're all things I've heard when I give seminars. You know, I get up there and they say, oh yeah, if this was really a problem, they would have told us. I am they. I am a, legitimate scientist, and I am telling you.